I think you'll agree, we all believed for years that the Infinity Stones were the most powerful items in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But after watching a few of those being used as paperweights, I really don't know how to feel. Excited? Anxious? Feeling small? Where do we go from here? I guess Loki brings us at the cusp of a new era of Marvel Cinematic Universe with forces at play which will make Infinity War seem like a minor skirmish. Hello, Namaskar, welcome, Swagatam. You're watching Tinsel Talk, where I share my opinions on the latest movies and TV shows. So, Marvel Cinematic Universe expands further on our TV screens as the Disney Plus series Loki hits the waves. Third one to air this year. Loki comes on the heels of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision. Check out the links above to catch my discussions on those two series. 2 episodes of the 6-episode first season of Loki have aired, and before we start talking about it, here is a spoiler warning, not only for the show's 2 episodes but also for a major part of the MCU. Like the previous 2 Disney Plus Marvel shows, Loki 2 starts after the events of Avengers Endgame, right after the Space Stone housed inside the Tesseract found its way to the hands of the God of Mischief. When Loki appears out of the portal, we learn that he has not only moved through space but through time also. Now this is the most important thing that doesn't make sense, because Space Stone is Space Stone. It shouldn't have displaced Loki in time. Maybe because of Loki's innate magic, or because of the events were indeed caused by a time-traversing team of Avengers, or whatever, Loki moved through time and triggered an alarm with the Time Variance Authority. That is the mystery organization we see in the trailers. What follows is Loki embarking on an adventurous mission with a team of TVA agents to hunt down someone who is more dangerous than Loki. This is a simple premise if you think about it, a buddy cop action comedy, so to speak.
Big metaphor guy. I love it. Makes you sound super smart.
I am smart.
I know.
Okay.
Okay.
But don't forget, all this is happening within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the place with the most diverse, unpredictable and irresistible characters and storylines, which is why the premiere of Loki was the most watched Disney Plus premiere. But I digress. Let us talk about the first episode. It is a no-brainer that the first episode would be a lot of exposition and character introductions and flashbacks to tie up the known universe from the movies that we have watched so far with the upcoming events in this show. The show excels at making it all digestible and not at all boring. There is comedy at each turn, some good laughs and some genuine moments of deep thought hidden beneath the jokes. When Loki is brought to the TVA, there is almost cartoon-like comedy. But I enjoyed the laughs. The weirdness of the entire process of Loki's entry into the TVA was made enjoyable by these laughs, while also making him and us, the viewers, understand what TVA is all about. In the comics, the Time Variance Authority and the 3 timekeepers who govern the TVA have appeared recurrently on the pages of Thor comics for decades, starting in the 70s. But of course, like most MCU storylines, this one isn't directly translated from the Marvel comics to the screen. The comic book storyline only serves as the broad basis of the overall narrative of this show. When TVA agent Mobius, played excellently by Owen Wilson, takes Loki under his responsibility, that is where the story begins to take shape. Remember, Loki, the original version which we have followed for over a decade, was killed in Avengers Infinity War. In dying, Loki paved the way for Thanos to emerge as the most compelling character and the most menacing villain in the entire MCU. Well, that is a bit of an oversimplification, I know. Loki's death did not make Thanos the top villain of the MCU, but you know what I mean. Thanos was not just a villain, he was a character, one with depth, emotion, power and more. One of the best and most complicated characters written in the MCU. Loki, when he first appeared in Thor, he was unevolved, kind of an unruly teenager with a lot of power and ambition, but over the course of the subsequent movies, his character developed depth. layers, so to speak, separating him from other run-of-the-mill villains, making him someone to, well, not like per se, but certainly to look forward to. With the series Loki, we expect to explore the complex personality of Loki even more, to see what makes Loki tick. In the first Avengers movie, he was the harbinger of chaos and the ultimate reason for the Avengers' existence.
I am Loki of Asgard, and I am burdened with glorious purpose.
Yes, most villains do have this fate. On their quest to victory and absolute power, they pave the way for their own defeat. And Loki's character showcased this trait more actively than most. He is the God of Mischief, but he is not as evil as he appears to be. This is what endeared him as a character to us in Thor: The Dark World, when we see his connection with his mother and his unbridled rage as he avenges her.
See you in hell, monster.
But again, that was the beginning of his grand scheme of ruling Asgard. His mischief got really out of hand in Thor Ragnarok, when Odin's exile led Hela back to Asgard and strengthened Surtur, both events culminating into Ragnarok. That was the turning point in Loki's life, I would say, when he realized his lust for the throne of Asgard eventually led to the destruction of his home world.
This was your doing.
And I say turning point because, well, he gave his life attempting to kill Thanos. The old Loki would never have risked a selfless act like that. That was the end of Loki's journey, at least that Loki which we know in the MCU timeline, until the Avengers, in their attempt to defeat Thanos, gave Loki the opportunity to escape the timeline that would eventually lead to his death. Of course, the Loki who escaped didn't know what he was escaping at that moment. But in this solo outing in the Disney Plus series, Loki is face to face with an agency which deals with all kinds of temporal anomalies. There, he sees his entire fate in the timeline he escaped from. It was amazing to watch Loki watch himself live through the years leading up to Thanos snapping his neck, his reactions, and his realization of destiny. The episode's name, Glorious Purpose, is realized at that moment. This flashback was the major part of episode 1 and was executed in small doses, interspersed with clever dialogue, more comedy, and ultimately leading to Loki in this timeline accepting his glorious purpose of changing his destiny. And also accepting the fact that TVA is a whole new ball game than the universe he was aware of until that time. I mean, a place where even an Infinity Stone is powerless, that should be inconceivably epic. And there are way more than 6 Infinity Stones rolling around in a receptionist's drawer. But what does that mean? It doesn't necessarily belittle the whole Infinity Saga that we have been following over a decade. But this just expands the horizons of our comprehension of the MCU. Because in the Marvel comics, extremely powerful individuals and objects are plentiful. We have only begun to scratch the surface in the 12 years of existence of the MCU. So I wouldn't bet on the TVA being the limit of power in the MCU. There are more powerful organizations or beings or objects out there to be explored. But that is besides the point. Back to the series Loki, as it dawns to Loki that he is indeed out of his element at the TVA, he is humbled. And then Agent Mobius comes in to throw the final punch, the hook that ties up the entire flashback journey and reveals the reason why Loki was being given a chance to help the TVA and not just reset like any other time criminal. And that brings us to the second episode. After the buddy cop dynamic is established between Mobius and Loki, it is the time for a field trip. The episode named The Variant takes us deep into the mind of Loki, his manipulation, and pits Mobius against this.
It is adorable that you think you could possibly manipulate me.
Surprisingly, Mobius calls his bluff and doesn't fall for it. So now Loki has but one course of action to actually track the villain they revealed in episode 1 and prove his worth to Mobius, to eventually get an audience with the Timekeepers All that in hope of getting back to his original timeline or anything that would help him escape impending death. There is a lot of file surfing, lot of exposition, metaphor and much more, all leading to a crazy trial adventure at the time of the decimation of Pompeii. That is where Loki's plan to find this variant is tried out. Once Loki's theory has been tested, the time for the real mission starts, leading us to a suspenseful game of hide and seek, leading to a big reveal. Loki is forced to change his agenda and his allegiance once again. Though out of curiosity or something sinister, we will have to wait and see in the next episode. Talking about the overall feel of the series, I must say that the dialogues are amazing. The MCU is well known for its quippy dialogue, but this is next level stuff. I'm not talking about the quips and the comedy alone. The whole episodes have superb dialogue, lines which are said with the conviction of amazing acting by Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston take us beyond the mere spectacle of the on-screen magic to deep and complex human interactions, understanding Loki's motivations, past and present and much more. And I have nothing but praise for the visual effects in the show as far as we have seen in the 2 episodes. You know, I had gripes about the visual effects from the previous installments of the MCU, Disney Plus lineup, but Loki is on a different level altogether. The portal effects, the time reset effects and the thousands of invisible visual effects all amazingly weaved into the story. The most incredible one, I think, was the short 10-second sequence of a hurricane. That was Marvel world building. When you watch it, you will understand what I'm saying. Any other storyteller would not have spent limited resources of a TV show into crafting a hurricane shot when most of the events were going to take place indoors. Some lighting effects and sound and some water spray and wind would have carried the message forward. But really, Marvel Studios have no holds barred in Loki. At least so it seems with the 2 episodes that we have seen so far. Acting wise, Tom Hiddleston is the same as always, although I feel that this role, this current job in the show Loki, has him being more physical, more active than ever before in the MCU career. There is running and falling and being flung around more than we expect from him in an MCU outing. Loki is much of a talking character.
Because we both know you love to talk.
And well, talk he does a lot. Owen Wilson as Agent Mobius shines in his role as a patronizing elder brother, a no-nonsense detective who can look right through Loki's deception. But I'm really eager to see more of Sofia Di Martino. She is revealed as the villainous variant at the end of episode 2 and you can't help but get intrigued by it. No one can resist this top-class cliffhanger. Do you agree? Have you watched the 2 episodes or are you waiting for the entire show to air before binging it all? Or are you a variant who isn't intrigued at all by Loki the series? Until more is revealed this Wednesday, all we can do is watch and rewatch the 2 episodes of Loki. And till then, this is all from my side. If you liked this video, please do leave a thumbs up and share this with all your friends. And if you don't agree with my opinions or simply wish to speak your mind, jump right down into the comment section to let me know. As always, I'm eagerly looking forward to your feedback and comments. Do join me on Discord and other social media platforms from the links in the description to have more discussion about Loki and all that is MCU. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, The Versatile Doctor. This is Dr. Abhinav Atul signing off. It is my pride and privilege to be able to connect with you through this video. Namaskar. While you're still on YouTube, how about you check out this video which YouTube thinks you would like, or check out my WandaVision series discussion.